Okay, I'm going to do a short live and I'm going to explain. You can't really see it as much like what the camera and the lighting shows, but the why I have my camera off. My eyes, my neck, my whole body, what people will see on the live, my hands are jaundice. I'm not dying of a tumor in the brain. It's kidney failure with only one kidney. Most of you only see this in newborns on jaundice. Mine, my lips, you can really tell. This is why I keep the camera off. I got recently attacked for having an email of Tyler Joe French, and this is used against me by a puppet of Robert Baker in the state right there in Kokomo. And things like my mentality were used against me on a certain puppet's page here recently. Used against me. Things out of my control. So before we start this live tonight, it's something that's around my neck daily. I've got the St. Michael pendant around my neck daily. These are the two things I raise hell. When I go to the hospital and they take off my body, I do not want it off. And this is why. I stand for the values that were beat, blood, sweat, and tears into me: loyalty, duty, respect, honor, selfless service, self, uh, selfless service, courage, bravery, honor, respect, duty, leadership, blood, sweat, and tears. That was instilled in me. But before we start tonight, there's one thing I do want to do. And at the very start of this live, you're going to hear I'm sitting in the living room, so you're going to hear the end of the washer. And you'll let me know if it is too loud. I can pause it and continue. But before we start tonight, I want to start with this. And anybody that knows this, please feel free to join along. But this is how I want to start tonight's live. It's not going to be a full attack like it seemed, but more than enough. Before I expose the suspects, their friends, Greeno included, his Kokomo crew, the drug ring he was running with, using with, don't think I don't know. I am not going to get to him and his friends and the cases they go back to. That will be later. But I needed to do this first. And I'm going to do it in such a way. This is what's going to lead me. And it's one thing, Reverend Martin Luther King, you cannot fight darkness with darkness. You can only fight darkness with light. I'm going to start tonight's off with a prayer, something you don't hear me or see me do normally. Anybody that knows this, please join along and feel free. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, some more than others. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. There is also one other thing I do want to bring up, and it's Luke 23:34 through 38. I'm only going to read the first part. Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It's the same prayer I say each and every attack by the ones in and around this drug ring, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they have done. I've had dreams where I'm bleeding out, got shot, and the one thing I was able to say and ask was forgive them, Father, for they know what they have done. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they have done. Was said in my dream before I passed away. I've had this dream multiple times. The one person I trusted with my own life, it was crawling up to their new doorstep before I even knew where they lived, what it looked like. It was me crawling up steps and crawling up, bleeding out a person's door. And when I seen where they live now, without knowing where this was, until here recently, it gave me the creeps. But we're going to get into tonight the community wall post, the videos tomorrow. I'm going to be exposing a few content creators, some conversations had with other creators, their friends. Tracy, your emails with me, you realized, like many others that have tried to get me to spill every single detail, everything I know, you couldn't get it done. So pre-consent, you sent. And it was planned along with you and other creators. Oh, he's single. Act like you're going to get with him. It's been tried before from within and around this drug ring, like Jessica Plunkett. Tried sending titty pictures. The ring, this cartel ring, and the ones in and around it have already tried multiple of your already attempts to get the full information out of me, what I know, to get back to save their own asses and their friends. So pre-consent, your emails, I'll make sure to hide the nudity, but pre-consent, your own attempts, it's going to be shown just like the cartel ring, their friends, to the extent some of the creators to quench the bloodthirst of their cult members, their followers, their friends, and their pages are so bloodthirsty to get every single detail they know from a victim and a witness, no matter what means it must be done. If I can't do it, like Tracy did, I'll send pre-sent. And see, I'm not doxing certain people, individuals with your real name. I let you expose that to the real world on, you remember these? This does not leave us. This stays between us only. Sure the hell didn't stay on your end between us only. Not when you plan this out with other content creators and your friends and your followers behind scenes with other creators. Some of them lower than me that you're trying to get buddied with me. Oh, we'll push your content. We'll push your page. Prof. Yeah, you're trying to get Prof and others to do your own dirty work, seeing if I lost trust in this individual and they know damn why. It's about to be shown in full. And I'm making sure anything that can get my page struck, a strike, or any abusive content or anything like that, I'm making sure anything and everything that could get a strike against my page or my page shut down, I'm having the decency, unlike you. Haha, see, told you I could get this. Oh, see, he's trusting me. Look what I got. And sharing it around. Unlike you, I have the decency. I will cover up what should not be shown and will not be shown. But it will give enough context of what was being done, by who, and to what extent. I will not show even suspects like Jessica Plunkett. I will not show her nudity or anything like that. I had more decency, and I'm more of a human than many of you will ever be. So many of you have done nothing but for your own gain, your own page's gain, for money, greed, for fame, and money. One of the two worst sins. You were willing to do any sin, no matter what cost, to get to that goal. Money, greed, and fame. Look at me, look what I have, look, oh, it's going to get more than one case justice. You're acting like you want justice for these victims, but yet you're using a victim that became a victim myself after I, even as a still active informant, had to get a protective order as an active FBI informant on what was being allowed done to me by KPD and including the FBI, proving that when it comes to victims and their families, just like in the same time frame, the Florida mass shootings, the first one, they came out. We knew intel. We failed to act. It cost lives. There was a mass shooting at a school, and then there was a mass shooting at a nightclub. Both times they were forced to come out. We knew intel. We failed to act, and it cost even kids' lives. I was let go as an informant. Why? Because after I stopped to help a life, selfless service, I could have rolled right by. I seen somebody that was scared, upset, looked young as hell, acting like somebody was chasing her. And for stopping to helping somebody, in the back of my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, I still have the FBI agent. When I get home, get into Wi-Fi, I can message him like an email, or I can do the text to talk, or the text or talk when I'm in Wi-Fi when I get home. The downstairs neighbor, being who she was with, and my ex's password and email, so long as I had that, I was able to get the Wi-Fi. Whoever has that box, I'm allowed to use it so long as my ex had that bill paid for their phone, their internet, and their TV. No matter where one of those router was in town, no matter if I was near one of those, I used in her email and her password to get signed on for that internet access. I had internet. So there were a lot of places that I was at, and it wasn't like the open Wi-Fi at the library or the city hall. And I was at certain places, they had nearby one of those boxes. And mind you, one of the first children I got home, one of the first images you will see in my community wall is a tiny house. No insulation, both on the roof or the walls. Bare bones, plywood, below 30 degrees. There was at times it was getting into the teens and lower, with even below freezing, below the teens, below single digits, wind chill at night. That's where I was resting my head when one of the first of 8 individuals I got home alive, Caitlin. I was on the streets, staying in that place, resting my head, thanks to one Navy veteran. He knows who he is, his family. When I was more able bodied, he actually gave me work where I was able to provide and do electric for him and provide for me and mine. Knowing I couldn't go up 100% ladders and stuff like that, I was able to do groundwork, box work from the ground. Knowing and seeing, I knew what I was doing, knew I was been trained to do. I grew up around. I learned from my grandmother, not my grandmother, my grandfather. Did that his whole life, owned his own business, was well off, did well and had multiple employees. I was running home runs as a child. So thanks to that Navy veteran, that's where I was laying my head, calling home when I was thrown into the streets. It wasn't for something I did, it was the threats that followed me, wanted me dead, at no matter who else, their lives went with me when they acted. Real reason I was put to the streets and had to go where I had to go. I made damn sure those same threats followed me. It hurt like hell, but yes, one of these individuals, it was about a week after I was thrown out, after multiple armed suspects was getting out, amassing in front and back of my ex's house. There was 3 kids, 2 other adults in that house, lives put at risk, more than my own, became victims. There was an individual who leaves the left side of my face. His family, his uncle, his own ties to Gabe Ellis, this ring, is why I still have to get facial surgery. Why 9 times out of 10 you will see the facial hair on my face. Why? Because it hurts like hell, even as much as an electric razor hitting that left side of my face. So I leave my beard and I kind of use scissors, the one thing that really don't hurt, to trim everything up. Until I can get that fixed, my jaw wired shut for a period of time, I've chose to push that off. Yeah, it's going to hurt like hell. They're going to have to re-break everything, wire everything shut, put the plates in, and it's going to keep me from using my voice. The same voice that I've been trying after I and ones around me allowed to become victims. The same voice I've been using to get a voice not for me, but the other victims that no longer have a voice by these same individuals, their friends, many that go back to Casey Conwell and his friends, their friends, the same friends that sit with what, Brad Holder, that's shown on the community wall. Then there's Keegan Kalis, and it's Keegan. The reason everybody was trying to use Kagan is Kagan, Kigan, Kalis, Megan Allen, Riddell's boyfriend. The same her, which is now Megan Everling, when she married Josh Everling. That Megan, her boyfriend, and his friends parading around with blood rusted Bowie knife and machete. The same Keegan Kalis, that's where Keegan was trying to play off his best buddy and co-defendant in more than one case. They were under a older child predator, Gabriel Ellis's pretty much control. They belonged to his little brotherhood. Some of them already became blood brothers after Karina's case. Their roles and involvement in Karina's, including where Blaine Nelson was calling Gabe his aka blood brother. He is no blood relation to Gabriel Ellis, or his family and his children, the same children he was calling his nieces and nephews. It disgusted his own mom when his own mom told me he is no blood relation to him and his uh, sons and daughters. They're not his nieces and nephews, and he is sure as hell not his blood brother, not even stepbrother or married into it. He is of no relation to him. And he went off to a life. I told you to leave my mom out of this and not to tell her shit that he and his ring, his aka blood brother, who were involved in Karina's, he was given the same tour on the live with Blaine Nelson. He was given the same tour that I knew for a fact, word for word, the night of when Marlena Smith was actually called by the real suspects at the real crime scene where Karina was killed to come get her cell phone and her glasses. Ricky Bubby Lewis backed this up and actually admitted to that. But tonight, we're going to go more towards the creators, Tracy, your friends, the content creators you're around, the community wall posts, the emails between you guys. A couple have decided to actually, before thinking I'm going to keep their name, their role out of this, exposed many of you to your friends and where pages that you sit and reside right now. That is going to be shown. Where conversations you all had as other content creators, you had amongst yourselves. Marv, Frank, the conversations I had with you guys when I first started talking to you, like Frank, you can trust me with everything. Just please tell me everything, everything you have. I refused to. I never got your trust. For damn good reason, I'm glad I didn't. Then we're going to get to individuals like Matt Sullivan. Oh, trust me, you can tell me everything. I'm a private investigator. Oh, you can trust me with everything. Sure as hell glad I didn't dare either. But you used what was given to you as your own work product to make your own pages for your own personal gain, what you can get out of it. Me, on the other hand, I've never tried to be a content creator. I've never tried to push content other than screen record or doing lives like this. I never tried to make the flashy content as a content creator. Look at me, look at my page, look what I got, look what I know. On every single thing I know or get, or I've worked with families that I've got home, did I run to the world and go, the thank you that I got from those families for everything you've done was more than enough for me. I didn't rush and make it content and try to be this creator. Oh, sub to me. Give me all your donations, like the 500 donation a puppet got last night while drunk off his ass. An individual, him, his own friends, and the friends they are friends with want me dead, along with a family friend like Robert Baker. To him, I'm just a FBI snitch, and if I was such an FBI good snitch, then why aren't they doing anything? Well, they sure as hell are now, and them and a couple others. So I was giving a complete all hope on the bigger RICO investigation. All it took was Jamie Noel, one high-ranking official, to screw up, to get a lot more looked at, and the larger RICO investigation started. Again, I could have made that content easy as hell. Inside information, things that are going to be acted on. I'm choosing not to. Why? Many of these people sit, laugh at my videos for what little I am getting out. I've talked to my own attorneys, the legal detectives, the other ones, and some of the deep dives. I know to what extent I am allowed to legally. I can show some of the things in better context that I've already talked about years open, in the open, been out there, just not in full detail like I'm about to. Their friends, where they go back to, but I'm about to show you guys some of the context and the content where I'm not trying to be a creator. And one thing, even I've told Jerry McClurkin and other families, mind you, I'm coming in for a victims only mindset. I'm not here to make friends. I wasn't here to become some big content creator. Look at me or what I can get out of this. What's in it for me? It's the victims, the full justice for these victims. And at times there is family that are involved, no more, and they are sitting silent. But there's other family members, sometimes out of state, mothers, fathers, that have nothing to do with what's going on up here and are getting left out themselves. And that's happened to more than one victim in their family. So there's other family members that are victims themselves I've talked to that are backing me, and I know what I can and cannot do and to what extent before it will jeopardize a federal RICO investigation, bigger issues, and other suspects bringing up in multiple cases. I know what I can and I know what I cannot be exposing and to what extent. But by all means, when it comes to these content creators, they're tampering with a witness and a victim, and to what extent they and the ones just like their counterparts that are in this drug ring at times have already tried to do. The same ways, many of the times, the same ways some of these content creators, their friends, the ones in these background conversations, oh, I couldn't get everything out of Michael. Oh, he's single. Oh, act like somebody's going to get with him or interested in him and, oh, send him some nudes. That's happened more than one. Not you, not just you pre-consent, but others, including suspects and ones in and around this drug ring. You think you're the only ones that tried that first? But I will let it be known and I will let it be shown where you say you do this for a living. You know how to manipulate men to get anything and everything you want. And you thought you were going to do it with me when you're openly admitting that you were trying to do the same exact thing that somebody sent you to do on me. What you have in writ is damning in itself. You own admission. And what's sad is instead of using a real phone number, you decide to hide behind a Google made up number to text and call me like the coward and little ho you are to try to get information out of a witness and victim. You're no better than the ones in and around this drug ring that have tried the same. All for funny, money, fame, glory. Look at me. Look at my friends. Look at their pages. Oh my God, look what we got. You make me sick. And I'm going to make sure it's shown what you admit to openly, what the hell you did to me, who sent you, and the background conversations you had with other content creators. And by all means, the other creators that are lower than even me, some of them I've known and I've seen the full conversations you've had in the background with them. Oh, we'll boost your page. Attack them. We'll boost your page. We'll get behind you. We'll make sure the subs come. Do what we ask. Be our puppet. And some of them are already being puppets by the state and ones that are corrupt, trying to cover their own ass. Get information for them, their own asses, and their friends in around this cartel ring. But what's about to be exposed before I drop that? Look on the 3 tiers. A lot of you tried tampering with me. When deaths are involved, federal statute, federal law, tampering with witness and victims, when deaths are involved, it's 30 years per charge. You want it to level 3, stage 3, instead of ones like Tyler bragging about and actually saying, yeah, many of my friends, other suspects, he named some of them, watch this, watch my page on the free content, are sitting back laughing. You think I'm going to speak freely and open? It's going to cost even them and their buddies, the ones needing the information to save their own asses, including many of these content creators, to pay-per-view, motherfucker. And you know what? A lot of this is going to go up to the other victims. And instead of kiss my ass, the one thing that's kept me alive this long, kiss my arsenal, motherfuckers. And I'm sitting here, the only reason I say that is it's the one thing that kept me alive is what's been on my hip, and they don't know what else I have, to what extent. Like I said, kiss my arsenal. Unlike many of them, I'm legal. And like I said in this description, I get monthly the psych evaluations in person with my psychiatrist. At one point, it was severe PTSD. Non-psychosis has always been my diagnosis. Nerves, and at times, my temper gets the best of me. But anxiety, PTSD, and nerves are my three main issues. Years in the past, when I was a child, after what the fuck happened to me as a kid, then losing one of the close family members that I got close to, it threw me down a dark spiral. It's been many moons since suicide's never been back in my mind. It was when I was a child, everything was happening, was piling on, and I wanted to get away as fast as possible. The only route in my mind I had. It's actually taken my life. The one that adopted me at age 1, it was the help of their CPR, and then the first responding cop they had issues with back when they were younger. I had a town cop in tears. They found me and they brought me back when they found me hanging. Like I said, that's been many years, well past 20 years ago. I successfully came here, and by the grace of God, and there was one conversation the whole time. I don't remember being out. They said I was in a coma. I don't remember this. The only thing I remember from the very beginning to the very end is something in a deep, dark voice, and it was a blue. I've never seen this shade of blue in my life before. The only thing I remember out of that was something that kept resounding. And I end up asking my childhood pastor, do not forsake me, love me. And the look on his face, knowing my story, what has happened in my life, the actions I've chose, he looked at me and he's like, I'm going to read you the scripture. This is something I've never journeyed as a kid into the Bible. I read a lot. There's times at church I'd read the Bible, but other than that, really didn't pick it up as a kid until after this. But do not forsake me, love me. He looked at me and he's like, with the actions you chose, you turned your back. You stopped coming here. The events we were having going on, I knew something was up. I knew something was wrong. Didn't know what. Didn't know what to what extent. And he even looked at me. He's done many in my family, and he will be one of the ones I've got a couple, but he will be one of the pastors that officiates my own passing. And yes, I've got the DD 214. I burned that flag that would be over me. Most likely it would be in a church. I know that. But he will be one of the pastors officiating over my own passing, however soon or late that may be. Like I said, I'm already a walking dead man. So you think these motherfuckers scare me? I'm already slowly dying unless I get a kidney. The other health issues, the meds I have to take for that to keep living, it's not helping my single kidney. And stage 4 renal failure. Not one bit. Only having one kidney. I didn't realize that when I swore an oath. And the current DD 214, yes, I did earn that flag. 100% honorable and is 100% up to date. And there was some actions that was taken while I was on active orders. My head being bashed in the wall. Biothrax getting forced into my system while still healing less than days after being diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury, severe concussion, memory loss, for damn near a whole day and a half, almost 2 days. I didn't even know my own fucking name. I woke up and didn't know what the fuck was going on. The only thing that saved my ass while I was being attacked by a fucking civilian of all places on a base. Yeah. And this didn't happen prior to shipping. I did a favor to the National Guard. Their own program that they fund here in Indiana, the Hoosier Youth Challenge Academy, they wanted to see if it was safe because their GD Plus program and troubled 17-year-olds on up like myself. I was 17. I turned 18 in Fort Benning, Georgia. But it was issues I sustained at Camp Atterbury by a civilian coming into barracks of that group. I had my military ID. My uniform was in my locker. I was to do actual drills, my drill dates there at Camp Atterbury. I was to get that weekend off from this group, and only certain individuals in that group knew I had my military ID on me, my uniform in my wall locker. It was zipped up. The cadre were instructed not to ask me what is in that bag and to leave it alone by military orders. The ones that are funding that program orders. The director of that program orders. You're not to touch that. You're not to get into it. You're not to ask or force that member that's going through the second class going through here any questions of what's in that bag. And then you're not to ask any questions that weekend of his drill date when he leaves and he walks across the street. You'll find out then what is in that bag and who they really are. I was put there by the National Guard and two sergeants. I believe it was Sergeant Roman, and there was a staff sergeant, not staff sergeant, Sergeant First Class Rodenberger, and then United States Army National Guard. The general that I got to shake hands, meet, you know how weird it was not to salute a commanding officer? I was forced not to. He looked at me, he's like, under his breath, he's like, I understand, son. I know who you are, and thank you for doing what you're doing. It was an honor to meet you. The reason why I was put there and I was asked to see if it was safe for military entrants, recruits coming in to go through this program. It's a 6-month program, and I proved the attack on me, it was not safe enough for incoming recruits, military personnel to be involved with. It could come with legal issues, and it was people in brass above these two sergeants' heads that pulled the plug, told them to get me out of there, and they fast tracked, and I went downrange. I was fast tracked. I was 3 weeks into healing. That's something on my record. And then National Guard on the record, since I was on orders, and that cadre, the director of that little program, they were talking amongst themselves. I was refused medical care. I was put in a mess hall, and every few minutes somebody would come in, check on me, make sure I was awake for 2 days and 2 nights straight before I was released from that program to go home and seek medical care. Yeah, that's what has what I am, the way I am, me in a chair. I'm not paraplegic, but there's a reason why I'm in the chair and what's led up to what brought me and has put me in this chair. I fought like hell to prove my story. I've been speaking the truth even then. And just recently it's came to light. Holy shit, he's been telling the truth. It's why I am no longer in the service. But those ethos were instilled in me. Blood, sweat, and tears. I've got the DD-214. I'm honorably discharged. And it was medical reasons why I'm no longer in the service. So anybody that's going to try to attack me on some old documents that they can find, you make me sick. And it's sick when individuals, I thank them for their service, yes, but individuals like Gabe Ellis' son chose to go in the United States Army, along with a few others, try to hide their past and distance themselves from their dad and their own past. I look at me, oh, I was in the service. Oh, how dare somebody like him fucking come at me? There was things that are out of my control. I didn't realize I had a heart condition or a only a single kidney. The single kidney thing blew me away till years later. After I've been taking so many meds to keep me alive. Yeah. Kind of shock when you find out some of the same meds you're taking is also shortening your life expectancy. Only a single kidney's trying to filter all that, and it's now got it in stage 4 out of 5 failure. And you're choosing to attack me. I didn't ask to become a victim or a witness. It was selfless service. I seen somebody that was upset, scared, looked like somebody was coming after them. I chose to help somebody. I spoke up, knowing who and what I was. I didn't even tell them that. Oh yeah, by the way, hey, I'm some FBI informant. You can really trust me. It's like I got an FBI agent on the side. Not when I come to find out, she was wanted on a warrant herself for theft. Why she refused when I even asked, "Can we go to Speedway? Call for help." She knew it was meaning cops. She knew she had a warrant on herself. If she was to go do that to get help, she had been not really helped, but thrown in cuffs, thrown in jail. And if they couldn't get to her on the streets, look how many have been found dead in their cells or wounded, lifelined from Howard and Carroll County jails in the surrounding areas. Look how many times that happens. And it's to people like her. If they can't get to you on the streets, her own words, it resounds in my head. And she's like, she gave me hell at one point. I moved the wrong way, kept moving the wrong way, almost like she was thinking I wasn't taking her seriously. She blew up on me. Listen, I am telling you the fucking truth. If they see me, I'm as good as dead. Please stop moving. I swear, if they see me, I'm not making this up. I'm as good as dead. And then hearing some of the same words. If they find me dead, my body strewn across Kokomo. This is who did it. Hearing that later coming from Brandy fucking tore me up. I never really broke down to anybody, but there was a family member I talked to. I actually broke down with them. I was like, you know how hard it is to go to sleep at night. And the only thing you're hearing is they see me, I was as good as dead. And it was resounding to see somebody put a dumpster on fire on their TikTok. What they said, it fucked with my head again. And when I have people like Casey and others attacking me for something I chose never to be where I'm at right now, I didn't want people wanting me dead. If I'm talking and trying to get people, including kids, justice, I didn't ask for this, and I didn't ask for your friends and you and your friends and their friends that want me dead to want me dead for speaking up. I'm gonna be the next one that vanishes for being a snitch. I didn't ask for a chief of police, your family friend, to attack me, knowing he couldn't get me for withholding information. So if you're such an FBI good snitch, then why aren't they doing something? You know how uncomfortable that was to sit in front of somebody that's supposed to be somebody you can trust and treating you like that and making sure his officers, his department, the county would continue to do the same. You know how uncomfortable it was to be on audio and video with an investigative prosecutor knowing they're trying to get you for withholding information for a year on somebody that was missing and murdered. I was told to do that by that agent, Michael Curtis. I've never asked for this shit. And one thing I do want to know, let know, I am not suicidal. It fucks with my head. This happens a lot when I let it be shown. And to show you guys I'm not making this up, I'm being real. I didn't ask for this shit. I didn't want this. And I'm not suicidal. I didn't ask for these attacks. I didn't want people wanting me dead for speaking up, trying to get even kids justice. I was like, I was an informant. It wasn't for anything I did other than I went to the Department of Justice and Homeland Security. Seeing what was being allowed to me, I had to get a protective order as an informant. You know how scared I was? I still am. I didn't ask for this, neither did they. I've only made this page trying to get a voice from me, the ones affected near me. These people, nothing more.